You know what's so funny is I've referenced this man and this band so many times that you would have thought I've reacted to him, and I haven't. Today we are officially reacting and beginning our journey into The Doors. Now, I know of Jim Morrison. I know of him. I know how he passed away, the 27 Club, his impact and everything. I know bits and pieces, but I don't know everything. I don't know. I'll never know everything about anybody. But I have a slither of information on Jim Morrison. Now, The Doors as a whole, I know nothing. I don't know everybody's name. I don't know their significance, their impact, their success. I don't know any of that. And because of that, because this is our first reaction, you know we got to do some research. So here we go. The Doors were an American rock band formed in Los Angeles in 1965. The vocalist Jim Morrison, keyboardist Ray Manzarek, guitarist Robbie Krieger, and drummer John Densmore. They were among the most influential and controversial rock acts of the 1960s, partly due to Morrison's lyrics and voice, along with his erratic stage persona. The group is widely regarded as an important figure of the era's counterculture. Psychedelic rock, blues rock, acid rock. That's a first. Acid rock is a loosely defined type of rock music that evolved out of the mid-1960s garage punk movement and helped launch the psychedelic subculture. Okay. Acid rock. Signed to Rhino and Electra Records. Electra, excuse me. I don't know why I'm saying Electra. Electra sounds familiar or looks familiar, but I definitely haven't heard of Rhino. The Doors were the first American band to accumulate 8 consecutive gold LPs. According to the RIAA, they have sold 34 million albums in the United States and over 100 million records worldwide, making them one of the best-selling bands of all time. The Doors have been listed as one of the greatest artists of all times by magazines including Rolling Stone, ranking them 41st on the 100 greatest artists of all time. And in 1993, they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I did know that much. I did know they were legends. I did know that they were widely respected. I did know Jim Morrison was a pretty crazy boy. Excuse me. I didn't know they sold that much. I did not know that. And I did not know they had 8 albums. So they had a pretty long run. Well, it says the Doors began with a chance meeting between acquaintances Jim Morrison and Ray Manzarek on Venice Beach in July 1965. Right, so July 65, and Morrison passed in 70. So in 5 years, they put out 8 albums and they sold 100 million records in 5 years. And they only went gold. Did platinum? I think I'm tripping. Platinum didn't exist back then, right? I don't think platinum was a thing. No, platinum existed. What am I talking about? They had 8 albums, went 100 times platinum, and they only... Wow. That's crazy. Oh, you know what? Did they put out albums after Morrison passed away? Well, no, it's talking about them solo. Maybe I'm misunderstanding something, but that's crazy. 8 albums in 5 years, 100 million records. That's crazy. We're gonna start with what I believe to be one of their biggest hits, "Light My Fire." I think I've heard bits and pieces of this. I definitely haven't heard the whole song. I rarely the little bit that I think I heard, I rarely remember. So this is definitely fresh for me. We'll do song research afterwards. I'm so excited to finally learn and hear more about Jim Morrison and the Doors. So I'm really excited to hear this, man. So let's not waste no more time. Let's go.
You know that it would be untrue. You know that I would be a liar if I was to say to you, girl, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire. The time to hesitate is through. No time to wallow in the mire. Try now, we can only lose, and our love become a funeral pyre. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire.
I know this is a cardinal sin to break in the middle of a solo, but I mean, gosh, this is by far one of the longest keyboard solos I've ever heard. And again, we continue this trend of keyboard, and again, we got to a point where we were so used to just guitar solos that I'm still kind of wrapping my head around the fact that, yes, other instruments could have solos. And for a keyboard, so I don't remember a keyboard being this profound since Deep Purple. Like the keyboard kind of leading the way. And you know, kind of being the focal point of a quote unquote jam session. Like I'm hearing the drums, and I don't know if that's a bass. I hear do no 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 no. That's underneath the drums and the keyboard. But I mean, they jamming. They going for it at this point. I was looking. I was like, damn, this is a 7-minute song. I can't wait to hear. And so to hear it and now see that it's, at least up to this point, it's predominantly the solo. I can't I hope they don't drag it out. That's what the worst thing you could do for a solo is drag it out too long. But I'm enjoying it so far. I just hope that we get to the 5-minute mark and he's still going. And then Jim comes back in and only says, "Come on, baby, light my fire." And then that's the end of the song. I hope we get a little bit more from Jim. But I am enjoying the solo so far. Ooh, I like that. Okay. I like how they kind of turned it down too. Okay, I like that. I like we went from the keyboard to the guitar to a jam between drums, keyboard, and guitar. Still a long solo, but I do like they incorporated something else to kind of keep you going, because that keyboard, it was starting to get a little drawn out. But then they added the guitar. Now I'm hoping that's the end of the. I'm enjoying it. It's just a little dragged on, just a touch. But I am liking it, and I do hear the beautiful instrumentation, and you could clearly tell that they was in there jamming at that point. They was just going. I do like that, but I'm ready to hear some more from Jim. But instrumentation wise, it is enjoyable. I do like it.
The time to hesitate is through. No time to wallow in the mire. Try now, we can only lose, and our love become a funeral pyre. Come on, baby, light my fire. the night on fire. You know that it will be untrue. You know that I would be a liar if I was to say to you, girl, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on 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 fire.
I like that ending. I like that ending. Because throughout the whole song, I was like, when Jim gonna give me something? He ain't really, I hear all these things about how great of a singer he was and everything. I was like, I want to hear. And it was kind of the whole song. Come on, baby, light my fire. Oh, put my night on fire. I liked it, but I was like, give me something. And then he just went berserk those last 20, 30 seconds. All right, now. The Doors. I finally heard a song from The Doors, Light My Fire. So clearly this song predominantly is driven off of the instrumentation. But again, Jim does finish strong and great drumming at the end as well. Everything about that ending I love. Again, I will say I do think the solo was a bit dragged on. But other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Outside of the subject matter, it seemed pretty lighthearted, right? Just that feel of the song. Come on, baby, light my fire. Oh, now, of course, if you understood kind of the underlying tone of it all, it seemed very lighthearted. But, I'm pretty sure I know what he means when he says light my fire. But that was a lot of fun, and it was really driven off of the keyboard more so than anything else. It was really, really, really driven off of the keyboard. So to Ray, I'll stick with Ray because I don't know how to pronounce his last name properly. Ray, phenomenal. That was phenomenal work on the keyboards. That's really the highlight for me, was the keyboard, even though, again, they all sounded phenomenal. The drumming, the guitar, and Jim, he definitely sung well. But the keyboard stole the show. Ray stole the show. It was recorded in August 1966 and released January 67. It spent 3 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. And 1 week on the Cashbox Top 100, nearly a year after its recording. Due to its erotic lyrics, innovative structure, the song has come to be regarded as synonymous with the 60s psychedelic and sexual revolutions. Okay. Psychedelic acid jazz fusion. Jazz fusion. That's a first. Okay. Elektra Records. The song was principally written by the band's guitarist Robbie Krieger, but was credited to the entire band. Okay. Jim had been writing all the songs, and then one day we realized we didn't have enough tunes. So he said, "Hey, why don't you guys try and write songs?" I wrote Light My Fire that night and brought it to the next rehearsal. It's always kind of bugged me that so many people don't know I was the composer, Robbie. Oh, that's sad. That's sad. I feel for Robbie. He did phenomenal work on the guitar, but that's sad that people don't credit him for that song. Yeah, that's sad. Robbie said that he was inspired by the melody of Hey Joe. Hey Joe, I said. I heard you messing around town. Hey Joe, I said. I love that song. Don't get me started on Jimi Hendrix now. Do not get me started. Jim Morrison wrote the second verse and part of the chorus. Okay. The band started playing the song in performances in April of 1966 and extended it with a jazzy improvisation. Okay. Gotcha. They performed it on the Ed Sullivan Show. Oh, wait, what happened? The Doors were asked by producer Bob Precht, Ed Sullivan's son-in-law, to change the line, "Girl, we couldn't get much higher," as sponsors were uncomfortable with the possible reference to drugs. However, the meaning of the line was confirmed to be literal, as in high in the sky. The band agreed to do so and did a rehearsal using the amended lyrics, "Girl, we couldn't get much better." However, during the live performance, lead singer Jim Morrison sang the original unaltered lyrics. Sullivan did not shake Morrison's hand as he left the stage. The band had been negotiating a multi-episode deal with the producers. However, after violating the agreement not to perform the offending line, they were informed they would never perform on the show again. Morrison's response was, "Hey man, we just did the Sullivan Show." That's so rock and roll, man. That's so rock and roll. I mean, girl, we couldn't get much higher. I mean, and maybe I would really have to go back and look and listen to a lot of other Ed Sullivan show performances. I know that was the biggest show of its time. But they didn't have somebody else sing a song that had, some controversial lyrics. Like, that didn't seem that bad. Like, I mean, but it's the Ed Sullivan Show. Their history with, all the way from Elvis, trying to get artists not to be too provocative and all of that. I guess that definitely fits the bill. But that's just sad. Like, come on, baby. What's the line? Come on, baby, girl. We couldn't get much higher. We couldn't get much better. Like you literally have to plant that in your own mind that it's about drugs, because that could mean anything. We could get much higher. Higher on what? But I guess considering the times, but even still, drugs isn't any more prevalent than it now as it was back then. And if somebody had a song like saying, "Baby, we couldn't get much higher," I wouldn't immediately think drugs. Not immediately, without context to the rest of the song. I guess. I guess. Wow, it did really well all over the world. It went platinum here in the States. Have multiple other covers and versions. That's cool. Wow, Ray did everything, organ and that bass. Yeah, man, I really enjoyed this. And to know now that this song has a deep history, at least in the rock and roll world in regards to its controversy, I love it even more. Like I said, the solo was a bit drawn out, but the ending and the instrumentation really did it for me. And I can't wait to hear more. Hear more and learn more about the Doors and about Jim Morrison. This is going to be so much fun. Light my fire. Phenomenal. Great music. And I can't wait to hear more, man. So you guys requested and recommended, and I'm on it. But as always, like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate y'all for watching. Until next time, with the Doors. Peace.